Okay, what's going on, my people? Welcome to another video. This is a video that wasn't actually on my to-do list of videos to make, but I feel like it's an important one because I have a lot I want to say regarding this topic, because what started as a simple TikTok trend, as usual, is now sweeping the internet by storm and is becoming this massive phenomenon, amongst pop culture, in the world of pop culture. I said pop culture. Don't get your knickers in a bunch. Um, so I'm on the way home from the gym and I'm thinking, how am I going to approach this? So I was going to do a short little video for my Instagram story, which I did. Head on over there and give me a follow if you haven't. And then I thought, I'm going to do a short. I'm going to do a short for the channel. I'm not going to do that either. I'm going to get on here and do a video talking about this, purely because this is something I feel very passionately about. I never thought I would have to make this video in a million years. I never thought I would have to justify Daniel and Miyagi's relationship to fans. That's the one thing I never thought I would have to, like, it should go without saying that the backbone of the original trilogy is the bond and connection between Daniel and Miyagi. Now, if you say anything different, I feel like we were watching different movies. Anyone that has forgotten the connection that these two shared, please go and rewatch the original trilogy and tell me that it's not one of the most beautiful connections in the world of pop culture. This right here, a kid from Reseda is down on his luck. He's getting bullied. He's the new kid in town. No one wants to be his friend. He's uprooted his entire life. He's starting from scratch. He gets to town. He makes a bad first impression with Johnny and his Cobra gang, beating the crap out of Daly. And then comes this guy who takes him in, takes him under his wing as a friend, And not just that, a teacher, a mentor, a father figure, a guardian, someone to teach him the way, to show him the ropes. That was so powerful for people like me to watch as a child, to see that. But you know what? Yes, you didn't grow up with your father, but it doesn't mean there wasn't someone who couldn't fill that role, which is something that Daniel, he himself, brought up to Miguel in season 4. See, it's threaded throughout the show. Now, I will extend an olive branch. When Daniel constantly mentions Miyagi, does it feel like he's putting Miyagi on a pedestal? Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that, and understand it. And I also agree, yes, when he constantly mentions him, does it feel like he's condescending and looking down on other people? Not necessarily to me, but I can see how other people would see it that way. I can totally see that. But I feel like what's happening, and from all the edits that I've seen, what started out as a little bit of a joke and fun, people are going a bit too far with it now. It's almost like the forgotten connection between Daniel and Miyagi. It's like everyone's completely forgotten that the whole universe is built on these two. I thought season 5 would have reminded people, yes, this is the story of Johnny Lawrence and Cobra Kai and Miguel's journey and Robbie's redemption and Hawk being badass. I thought it would have reminded people who the Karate Kid was. Yes, the new age Karate Kid, of course it's Miguel or whoever. The Karate Kid is Daniel LaRusso, and his teacher is Mr. Miyagi, one of the greatest pop culture father figure, wise sage type characters in all of fiction. Like, he's up there with Dumbledore, Yoda, Gandalf, people like that, people who are wise, people who are a teacher, old Ben Kenobi, characters we listen to, characters that when you're watching it, you feel like you're getting lessons from them. You feel like you're learning and you can apply that to your own life. And it's a beautiful thing. I saw one that really, and I'm going to get in my feels a bit here, so forgive me. And people can say I'm being emotional and whatever else, but I don't care. I saw an edit use the scene from season 2 when Daniel's wandering on the beach and looking at a fisherman, right? And this fisherman's he's just fishing, he's catching fish. Daniel, in that scene, is wandering along that beach because he can't get anyone to join his dojo. He's trying to convince people that Miyagi-Do is the way, but the power of Cobra Kai and the epicness is too strong. He can't compete with that, and then he's wondering, what do I do? He's lost. And a big element of that and why he feels lost is because he doesn't have his friend. He doesn't have, for all intents and purposes, his father. He doesn't have his father. He's walking along the beach. He sees someone doing fishing with the hat. Who does he know who did exactly the same thing? And who's the one person who could help him right then and there? Miyagi. Who's the one person he would go to for advice? Miyagi. Who's the one person that could guide him onto the right path and say, Daniel, you're doing too much? Now, 100%, if Miyagi was around in this show in season 6, I guarantee you he would have found a way to slap some sense into Daniel's son and say, hey, can you stop giving Johnny and everyone else crap? Like, sort it out. But as true as that is, there's been some weird obsession with Daniel just doing absurd. Like, people have taken it so far as to say that he's doing, like, I'm not going to say it because YouTube, but doing acts, if you will, with Miyagi. And I'm like, that's just disgusting. No. And I don't care if this sounds condescending, personally. I really don't care. If you're on the younger side, I feel like I can forgive it because there's a lack of experience there. You've got a lot more to go through in terms of trials and tribulations. But even when you're on the younger side, you surely have experienced a loss of someone you deeply care for, and you miss their presence every day. You may not even realize you miss them until a moment or a memory kickstarts it. Like, I'll be real. I won't say who. But there's a moment that I had recently, a couple of weeks ago, where I saw someone that reminded me of someone that's no longer here. And I looked at it and I went, you know what? You just get in, you get reminded of all the memories, and I feel like, yes, it's great to have a word, glazing. It's great to have that word because there are people that do that and they glaze people non-stop. However, just because there's a phrase for it, I feel like people now take that phrase, they glom onto the buzzword, they give no context, and they just apply it to everything. And those who are doing it in joke and in satire, I'm not talking to you. You do your thing. Everything's fair game. I'm talking to the people that actively believe that Daniel's whole character arc is to glaze Miyagi's bollocks. Like, I don't know what we've come to as a society, even when you see this beautiful connection between a boy who was lost and a man who took him in under his wing, a father-son dynamic. I'm so glad that Cobra Kai as a show is bringing to the forefront father-son dynamics. This is where I get personal. Anyone who's followed me for any stretch of time, you know where I'm going with this. We live in a world nowadays where the bond between father and son is ignored. It's forgotten. Society doesn't care about it. And people wonder why crime is on the rise. People wonder why the world's in the state it's in. It's because father-son dynamics are so crucial. They're so important. Now, yes, it's just fiction. Why are you getting so emotional? Because from Daniel's story, Daniel had no father with him. He had no father. Miyagi filled that role and prevented Daniel from going down a different path. The importance and the impact that a teacher or a mentor can make in someone's life is so freaking real. It's so real. And that's a key component of the story between Daniel and Miyagi. I feel like everyone's completely lost it. Like, everyone's completely lost it. It's just like, no, and this is where I feel like media literacy is so absolutely dead. You only have opinions based on what the show tells you. If the show tells you to hate Robbie, you hate Robbie. If the show tells you to glaze Miggy every 5 seconds, you do it. If the show tells you to constantly ignore the time jumps and whatever else, then you just do it. You do exactly what the show tells you, not what the show gives you. That's the difference. Now, you can have your own opinions on things, and that's totally fine. But just say that you just you like Johnny more. Like, I feel like, yes, we love Johnny to pieces, and yes, it is a show by definition, but Daniel is still the Karate Kid. It's still his universe. It started with him. It's like getting Luke Skywalker and doing what Disney did. Like, there's no end. Like, there's no benchmark now. There's no benchmark for where the glazing stops. There's no benchmark. It just means whatever people say it means, There's glazing, and then there's a character putting a character up on a pedestal. They're two very different things. He's not... See, Daniel isn't glazing Miyagi. He's putting him up on a pedestal, and he's not being aware that people are kind of sick and tired of hearing Miyagi's name every 5 seconds. That's not glazing. If Daniel was glazing Miyagi, then he'd say Miyagi was above everyone. He deserves everything. He deserves to win. Everyone else be damned. That's glazing. I really don't... I know someone will probably put the definition in the comment section and then spin a narrative. I really feel like this is sweeping the Cobra Kai fandom like a storm at the minute over something that, quite frankly, and again, I apologize if my thoughts are all over the place. This is a very off the dome type of video. I just left the gym. You know, I really feel like this is a thing in between now and part 2 that's just going to become a massive thing. Now, is it funny? Like, is it funny? Yeah, of course. I think I'm up for a joke and it's funny. But I feel like people are going a bit too far with it now. They're reaching to places that it ain't. They're recontextualizing story beats and scenes that were never, they never had that intention at all. Like, I feel like your opinion and the intention of what something's doing are two very different things. So the intention of the fisherman on the beach was to show Daniel a reminder of his journey, who he is, where he came from, what he used to do with Miyagi, and to remind him that even though Miyagi is no longer there, he's still with him there. He's still within him in spirit. And his presence is still there. That's what the intention of the scene was. Now, glazing Miyagi. Oh, you're the best friend I ever had, Miyagi. Glazing Miyagi. I'm waiting. I'm just waiting because I haven't seen these ones yet. The two scenes in particular, right, where Daniel's car gets completely graffitied by Hawk and the gang in season 2 and the Miyagi-Do gets trashed, right? I'm waiting for that scene and the one where he's sitting in the car and says to Miyagi, "You're the best friend I ever had." I'm waiting for someone to take those scenes and say he's glazing Miyagi. Was he glazing Miyagi when he started screaming it in his face like a little... And you guys know how I feel about Karate Kid 3 and what it did to Daniel. They made him basically just a guy to stand there and get beaten up. But essentially, you know, he screams in Miyagi's face. He has a right go at him. Is he glazing him there? Like, I don't know. This, like, guys and girls, I'm interested to hear what everyone says. Jump in the comment section down below and let me know what your thoughts are. I know there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with a lot of the things I've said, and that's fine. I'm not here to validate your opinion, just like you aren't here to validate mine. I'm here to put my opinion out there, and I let the chips fall where they may. And if you agree with me, you know, that's cool. That's amazing. If you don't agree with me, that's awesome too. Like, you know, it's what creates the discussion and the conversation. But this is sweeping. It's running rampant through everything at the minute, where you can't have a conversation. And I'm like, are we even watching the same story? Because I don't see it. I see him putting Miyagi up on a pedestal and annoyingly mentioning him every 5 freaking seconds. I see that. And I see there's a bit of condescension there, whether he's aware of it or not. I don't see glazing. That's too much. That's like the Miguel fans that want him to get everything just because we start. Oh, it started with Miguel, it should end with Miguel. That's very basic thinking. Now that's glazing. That's glazing. Or, oh, Robbie should get it because he's owed something and he hasn't had one. That's borderline glazing. You know, there's many situations you can apply glazing to. I don't think glazing applies to a connection where a character is no longer there. Now, if he was to... Now, again, this is where I can see the other side. I can see the other point of view. If every time anyone else mentions anything, what would Mr. Miyagi do? Yes, then Daniel is on the cusp of glazing. Sure. But however, if Daniel glazes him in 2, 3, or 4 scenes, I will be fair. There are some times that Daniel glazes him a bit. Sure. But we got to be fair. We got to be fair. I like to be fair. Daniel does glaze him quite a bit. However, the context of why he glazes him is the crucial part. He's not just glazing him because he's a fanboy. He's glazing him because that's his best friend. Wouldn't any of you feel the same way if you were taken in by this man who's like a father to you? You were taught all this ancient karate from him to better your life and defend yourself and raise a family, and you've got all these memories with your family with him. He's no longer here. Then all of a sudden your rival dojo is brought back into the fold and your life goes upside down again and you've got no Miyagi to turn to. Wouldn't you feel a type of way? Like I'm just, you know, I know it's just a show and it's just fiction, but hey, pop culture king here. This is why we love fiction, because it creates discussions and conversations, and I love stuff like that. I don't like surface conversations about, oh yeah, that was a cool scene. Yeah, like, I mean, no, I want to talk a bit more about it, you know. So this is a video. I'm undecided if I want to do a live stream after this or not. I might do a live stream later on tonight, going live just to discuss, you know, with you guys in the chat a little bit about it. And look, if you don't agree with anything I've said, that's absolutely fine. You can disagree all live long day. I would much rather someone disagree with me and learn something than agree with me and just confirm that I'm right. Because that's another problem. Confirmation bias is everywhere at the minute. It's like, yes, I'm confirming for you. You're right. You're right. It's a very weird sociological, psychological thing there. But yeah, I'm gonna keep rambling on. I've said mostly what I needed to say. I feel like people have forgotten, you know, the essence of Miyagi and Daniel's connection, and it's quite saddening because we're in the final season, and Miyagi-Do is the way. Like Cobra Kai is more badass. We have established this. Cobra Kai is cooler. It always has been. Like if you say otherwise, you're wrong or you're lying to yourself. Cobra Kai is cooler. It is. But Miyagi-Do is better for life. Johnny is a better father because of Miyagi-Do. And quite frankly, if you want to keep it a buck here, despite Daniel sucker punching him in the face, Johnny displayed more Miyagi-Do than Daniel did. Daniel struck first and reacted. Johnny didn't. That's character growth. So there's a reason why some things happen now and then. Just saying, you know, media literacy and that. But again, I will extend an olive branch. To play for the other side, does Daniel glaze Miyagi a bit? Yes, he does. It is there. To say it's not there is just wrong. However, big however, let's not pretend like it's unwarranted. Let's not pretend. Okay? Man, what an interesting thing. Like literally, it was one thing a couple of weeks ago. Now it's everywhere. Like literally, you load up your phone. Like luckily, all my feed at the moment is either Deadpool, Wolverine, or Miyagi glazing. That's basically all it is. But not that I'm complaining. I love both. But guys, I'll see you in another video soon. If it's your first time here, then we just cracked 8K not long ago. We're gunning to 9K, but we're on the road to 10K. So make sure you subscribed if you haven't. I've got live streams coming up where the most recent one I did for my birthday, I had a live Q&A where I let people come in and I let people ask questions. I will be doing that again. So that should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Gaming streams making a comeback. I've got a new stream in the pipeline with the Delta Squad ready and waiting to launch in about, I'd say, a week or so. So I need to hit all those guys up. But yeah, appreciate all the support, guys. Much love. Thank you, family. And yeah, is Vin Diesel, you know, glazing other people? Because like, what's the benchmark now?